Dad left me with my grandma for a new life. After 20 years, his new wife is demanding my inheritance. I was ready to accept it, but my amazing grandma stepped in with a stunning and shocking refusal. Here's the unforgettable truth behind her decision. I was 5 years old when my dad dropped me off at grandma's house with a small suitcase and a promise he'd be back in a few days. That was the last real conversation we ever had. 20 years of silence followed. Mom had just lost her battle with cancer. I didn't know that Dad had been seeing another woman for almost a year. 2 weeks after we buried Mom, he packed his things and chose her over his own daughter. Grandma was 57 years old. Grandpa had just turned 60. They'd finally paid off their mortgage and were making plans to travel during retirement. Instead, they got a traumatized child who cried herself to sleep every single night asking when Daddy was coming back for her. For the first 2 years, I asked about him constantly. Grandma never said a single bad word about him. She would just hold me tight and whisper that he was figuring things out. By the time I turned 8, I finally stopped asking. I think watching me give up hope broke her heart more than anything else ever could. Grandpa worked at the local auto shop until his back completely gave out. Grandma took a job in my school's cafeteria so she could keep watch over me during lunch. They drained their retirement savings from my braces, my school clothes, and summer camps just so I could feel like all the other normal kids. When I turned 15, Grandpa suffered a massive stroke. He survived but couldn't work anymore. I watched Grandma pick up extra shifts at a second job, coming home completely exhausted at 10 p.m. with swollen ankles, somehow still finding energy to ask about my homework. That's when I got a weekend job bagging groceries. I handed Grandma every single paycheck. Grandpa passed away when I was 17. I was holding his hand. His final words to me were simple but heavy. Take care of your grandmother. She pretends she's strong, but she needs someone too. I made him a promise that day. I intended to keep it forever. I gave up my dream of going to university out of state. Community college and full-time work became my entire life. By 25, I had a decent job in insurance and Grandma living in my spare bedroom. I swore to myself she would never have to work another day. Then I received a phone call that ripped it wide open. Dad was dead. Car accident on the highway. The lawyer asked if I wanted to attend the will reading. I said no. I felt absolutely nothing. 1 week later, someone knocked on our apartment door. She looked expensive. She introduced herself as Patricia, my father's wife, the woman he abandoned me for all those years ago. Grandma invited her inside. I never understood why. Patricia sat at our small kitchen table and spread legal documents across the surface with perfectly manicured fingers. Your father built a successful real estate company. His estate is currently valued at $3.2 million. She pushed a paper toward me. You're entitled to half, but I'm asking you to waive your inheritance rights voluntarily. Her voice sharpened. I took care of him for 20 years. You weren't part of his life. It doesn't seem fair you'd profit now. I stared at the waiver. $1.6 million. Enough to buy Grandma a real house. But I remembered every missed birthday. Every night, Grandma worked doubles because he never sent a single cent. Part of me wanted to sign just to be done with him. I think I should. I started. No, Grandma's voice cut through like ice. She stood slowly and walked to the hall closet. She returned carrying a weathered shoebox I'd never seen before. She placed it on the table and lifted the lid. Inside were dozens of yellowed envelopes. Do you know what these are? Patricia shook her head. Grandma pulled out papers one by one. Emergency room, age 6, broken arm, $4,200. Another envelope. Orthodontist, $6,800. Another. School supplies, $287. Medical bills, school fees, clothing receipts, camp invoices. 20 years of raising me documented to the penny. Every single receipt. Every dollar I spent raising his daughter while he built his empire with you. Patricia's face went completely white. My husband's nephew is an estate attorney. He calculated everything. Grandma placed a legal claim on the table. Housing, food, medical, education. Adjusted for inflation. Total, $924,000. Before my granddaughter sees any inheritance, I collect what I'm owed, plus damages for abandonment. Patricia's hands trembled. This is extortion. No, Grandma sat down calmly. This is accountability. She nodded toward the door. My nephew contacts your lawyers tomorrow. Patricia grabbed her papers and ran out without closing the door. I sat frozen, speechless. Grandma, I whispered, you kept receipts for 20 years? She picked up her tea calmly. I raised a man who abandoned his child. I wasn't letting him escape twice. I burst into tears. She rubbed my back gently. When we settle, we're seeing the ocean. I've dreamed of it my whole life. 3 months later, Grandma got every penny. And yes, we finally saw the ocean together.